to stop interacting constantly with the world and put it aside. As in the Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta, the Buddha says, putting aside covetousness and grief for the world. So we're renouncing the world. We're just stopping for a while, pausing, pressing the pause button. And when we do that, we have the chance to come to the experience of being here and what's actually happening for us. And what is actually happening for us? Well, we can observe it's the four Satipatthhanas that are apparent, that are our real experience. The body, feelings, mind, and mental phenomena. And so this clear comprehension is something to kind of contemplate the meaning of, to investigate for ourselves, and to experience it through making time to practice meditation, and then to take that mindfulness that we're developing in our meditation practice and apply that to all that we do, to every moment, to every physical experience, to every mental experience. Be the observer, be the knower with clear comprehension. It's such a wonderful experience, isn't it, to begin to kind of extricate ourselves from being caught up in experience to actually seeing, knowing what's going on. So yeah, we're caught up in a hindrance and we hear the Buddha's teaching about the 5 hindrances and we recognize, oh, this is anger, this is aversion. As soon as that happens, we're no longer the angry person, we're observing Dhamma. It's a beautiful thing, isn't it? And we can all do this. This potential, this possibility, this is to be developed. It's a kind of a story, this sutta, really. It's telling us about a particular episode, isn't it, in the Buddha's life? And it's rather matter of fact almost that we're learning that the Buddha made this decision to prolong the life. I just think that's really interesting and not necessarily that easy to understand. But maybe we have a certain amount of experience of that kind, like when you get sick and you have to do something, and something in the mind can just sort of say, right, I've still got to do this thing and I'm going to do it. And then afterwards I can collapse. And we're able to do that. Probably anyone who's a parent here would know what I'm talking about. When you've got children, I'm pretty sure people find amazing resources of stamina and energy just to keep going when they have to look after the kids. And then once that's over and you're free, you can actually get properly sick. I've come across people who've spoken in this way. That, again, adhiṭṭhāna, that energy, that determination we have, extraordinary power, perhaps. This mind is very powerful. But of course, we can also reflect that at the end of the day, we all have to die. There's only so much we can do to control these bodies. They have their karma and sicknesses come and go. And we're not really able to get involved in that process. We can only learn from it and observe it. The mind can be very challenged in these situations. And it's just very interesting for us to contemplate what would it be like to have a mind that's not afraid, that there's no possibility, there's no chance for any kind of fear, aversion, desire to come up. So what would that be like? There's a body that's very sick, it's close to death. That's how it is. I like the art representations of the Buddha's parinibbana, extinguishment. And in those pictures, people grieving and mourning and throwing themselves around in powerful emotion. And then others, the arahants, just standing there, looking the same as they always look, presumably, just there, just present. Because death is there. It's just part of samsara. It's inevitable, it's normal, it's natural, and so forth. So I guess maybe as we purify our hearts and minds and become more aligned with the Dhamma, we may simply be able to follow the process very mindfully with clear comprehension without a lot of strife and turmoil and tumult in the heart. And I'm pretty sure we can all consider that maybe in the past I would have been very, very afraid, but now maybe not quite so afraid, maybe not quite so troubled by sickness or impending death. And I do believe that we can expect these kind of changes over time with our practice, that we'll notice a more easeful relationship with all the vicissitudes of life, right up to the end. And ideally, we want to be embracing these challenging things, these events, with interest, with curiosity. Like, how can I continue to practice mindfulness? How can I develop my mindfulness in this situation and that situation? Let that be our priority. And then perhaps the physical and mental challenges will be in a context where we're bringing them in as a vehicle for liberation. I think we can all do this. It's a matter of choice. How do I want to live? How do I want to cultivate this mind? What do I want to pay attention to, and with what kind of an attitude? That amazing choice, and how difficult sometimes to actually be able to make that choice, not to be hurtling down the slope of despair and depression. We can have a lot of compassion, can't we, for people who are distressed when the body's sick, suffering, in danger, and how difficult sometimes. But the opportunity's there for us to redirect, really with great energy, perhaps with this determination, to put mindfulness to the fore. Mindfulness is my priority. Everything else is secondary. And then to allow that to help us to chart our course through the stormy seas. There are limits to words, but my sense of the word sati is it means recollecting. There's that quality of remembering or bringing in all that we know. And it has dimensions to it, but at the same time, my sense is that it's something very simple. Because when we pay attention to this mind, to this body, then often it reveals itself. It gives us a perspective that can extend deeply into the mind. Say we're sitting and meditating, practicing mindfulness, we may have many memories coming up. It can be surprising sometimes. Things that I haven't thought about for 50 years will bubble up onto the surface. My sense of the aspect of mindfulness that is the remembering or recollecting aspect is this deepening of awareness that just makes our experience more accessible to us. Sati, I think of as the awareness, the presence, the sampajañña, which we can say is something like with clarity, with clear understanding, applying all our intelligence, not just mental intelligence, to this experience of mindfulness. Mindfulness develops sampajañña. And sampajañña is an aspect of mindfulness. These words are very significant. They come again and again in the Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta and elsewhere. If this is such an important term that the Buddha used to describe this quality, this path factor, samasati, right mindfulness, then it's probably really good to spend time contemplating what does it mean? What does it mean, and how does it manifest for me? How can I develop this quality? What is the experience of it? How do I develop it? Meditation, of course, and also considering all the other path factors, virtue and wisdom and right intention, and all of these factors, and seeing how they're all part of it too. All these different path factors, like the spokes of a wheel, come together and nourish each other. I feel grateful that we have these teachings to really contemplate the words of the Buddha and come to the Pali, look at different translations, put it all in the pot, as it were, and then sit with it and contemplate. And let's see, what's our experience? I'd like to suggest now we go back to the sutta and take up where we left off with a little bit of a recap. So just coming back to the Buddha in the Vassa, the rainy season, in the little village of Beliva, becoming very sick, and yet enduring unperturbed, unbothered, with mindfulness and situational awareness, with Sati Sampajañña, and deciding it would not be appropriate to become fully extinguished before informing my attendants and taking leave of the Sangha. And so forcefully suppressing the illness, stabilizing the life force, the Buddha lived on, and his illness died down. Soon after the Buddha had recovered from that sickness, he left his dwelling and sat in the shade of the porch on a seat spread out. Then Venerable Ananda went up to the Buddha, bowed, sat down to one side, and said to him, so we all know that Ananda is the cousin of the Buddha, who was his faithful attendant or upatak for many, many years. He said to the Buddha, sir, it's fantastic that the Buddha is comfortable and that he's all right, he's well. Because when the Buddha was sick, my body felt like it was drugged. I was disorientated, and the teachings didn't spring to mind. Still, at least I was consoled by the thought that the Buddha won't become fully extinguished without making some statement regarding the Sangha of mendicants. Ananda was very perturbed by the Buddha's illness. Ananda was not a fully liberated person. He was still subject to desire and aversion and confusion. And so he was quite upset, and his mind was confused, and he felt as if he was drugged, and he couldn't bring up the teachings to console himself, to guide him through this difficulty. We can know from others, or even for ourselves, if we've been very sick, just how challenging it can be for the mind. And in this case, also those who are close to us, who are dear to us, when they become grievously ill, when they're in danger, how it affects our minds. So Ananda was struggling, but he had the idea, he had the conviction really that the Buddha can't go. He won't go at this point. There would have to be some kind of announcement or some other processes that need to happen first. In the suttas, we get the impression that Ananda was so close to the Buddha. He knew and understood many things. He could be a great support and a help to the Buddha, and a great intermediary between the Buddha and other people. So let's resume our reading. The Buddha replies to Ananda. He says, but what could the mendicant Sangha expect from me now, Ananda? I've taught the Dhamma without making any distinction between secret and public teachings. The realized one does not have the closed fist of a teacher when it comes to the teachings. The Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta teachings are for beginners, are for those who are practicing the path, who've been practicing for many years, and it's also for those who have come to the end of the path. The full resource, the mindfulness practice, is exactly the same. There's no distinction. We may have different experiences, our understandings may differ, but the actual practice is not any different. There's no secret teachings, there's no higher teachings, there's no esoteric teachings, there's no initiations. In the words of the Buddha, the teachings of the Buddha are for everyone. And again, the sense is that they are open, they are available, they're here for us. We don't have to jump through hoops. We don't have to have any kind of intermediaries, actually. The teachings are here and there's nothing kept back. So this for me is a very beautiful passage where the Buddha's saying this. There's no closed fist. It's an open hand. There's an open invitation here.